Instagram. It matters for your business, it matters for your brand, it matters for your popularity, and if you say it doesn't, you're lying to yourself. I'm only half joking, but I'm here to help. Today I'm in Mexico City, and the question comes from Wendy, who wants to know, Phil, how do I get better at Instagram? Now, you know as well as I do that there's a lot of information out there as it relates to strategy on Instagram. Instagram is kind of like a secret code that we're all trying to crack. Here's the good news for you. I've had a handful of clients achieve immense success on Instagram, and I'm going to share the strategies that they've used with you today. Now, before we talk about step-by-step strategy, we need to actually evolve our mindset on how we think about Instagram. Instagram as a platform has been very smart with how they've grown. Instagram is effectively 4 social media platforms. They've been very smart with how they've grown. Look at, for example, how they've taken market share from platforms like Snapchat. We now go to Instagram for a lot of different purposes. So as it relates to mindset, we need to think about Instagram as 4 social media platforms, and here they are: Feed, Stories, Live, and IGTV. Let's start with the first vertical on Instagram. That's your feed. Now, anyone who's used this platform, of course, knows their feed. It's the individual photos or videos that you post, which people see on their timelines. But nowadays, users have become very savvy. It's now not enough just to post on Instagram. Influencers and power users think about a lot of things. For example, how that post looks, how that post is edited, what hashtags we're using, how that photo lives with all the others that are also on your feed. So if you're going to curate anything or put a lot of thought into what you put out, that should be your Instagram feed. Your photography should look great. Your brand should be obvious. And your value proposition should be crystal clear, giving me a reason to click follow. I literally recommend to use a sentence in your social media bio that tells me what I'm gonna get from you. And I recommend using an app or some kind of resource that will help you plan your feed ahead of time. Not only does this start to give you ideas on how all of the elements work together, but it helps you stay organized. I've heard from many power users on Instagram that they take up to or over an hour to post any photo. It's not uncommon for someone to spend up to an hour or sometimes even more than 1 hour just on a single feed post. My favorite app out there to plan your feed ahead of time is called Preview. I'll be sure to put the link to that in the description below. Here's a little sneak peek on how I plan my feed ahead of time. I'm actually able to click photos and drag them into different order until I'm satisfied. So number 1, your Instagram feed. Probably the most important, and it should definitely be the most curated. Vertical number 2, Instagram Stories. Now this is a newer feature on Instagram, but it's one that has grown fast. When we look at how Instagram has taken market share from Snapchat, it's primarily through their Stories feature. Over the years, we've gotten so used to your feed posts, right? That's how Instagram started, but actually there's a whole group of people that only or primarily use Instagram Stories. In fact, many users rarely post on their feed, but almost post daily or sometimes daily on their Instagram Stories. So my recommendation is, if you're already posting on your feed, to also post on your Stories. And here's why. It's easier. Your Instagram Stories should still look good, but the whole point is that they're less produced. They're more on the fly. You taking us in the moment, on a journey, day to day. Still try to discover your visual brand within the Instagram Stories confines, so think about which typography options are you going to consistently use. Which colors best represent your brand. By the way, I've talked about choosing your personal brand colors in a video, and I'll link to that right here. There's so much to discover when it comes to creating your Instagram Stories, like Instagram stickers. So my advice is to spend some time discovering, practicing, and getting better. The more you do it, the better you'll get. We've talked about feed, we've talked about stories. Now we're going to talk about the one that the least number of people use, but in fact, it's one of the most important. Instagram Live. As a brand strategist and a speaker, I get to talk about this very topic. And when I'm in front of an audience, I ask people put their hand up if they're active on feed. Everyone puts up their hand. And then I ask them to keep their hand up if they're active on stories. A few hands go down. But then I ask them if they go live at least once a week on Instagram, And sometimes there's not a single hand up. I describe Instagram Live as an uncrowded room that not a lot of people have entered. So chances are, if you walk into that room, you're gonna get noticed. The beauty of Instagram is that when you go live, your followers get notified that you're live. At least at the time of recording this video, that's the case. And if you think about it, we pay for that kind of interaction or notification on every other social media platform. The beauty with going live is that you don't have to overthink it. Literally, pull a topic, 3 bullet points on that topic, and talk for a few minutes about something. The first time you go live, you might not have a whole lot of viewers, but that's totally okay. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get. One of my clients, Dr. Mona Vand, who is also active here on YouTube, she is so smart. When Live came out, she decided to go live every Monday and do her own show called Mondays with Mona. She did this consistently every Monday and continues to do it, and it gives her audience an opportunity to interact with her. Not only do they get to interact with her, but it also gives her ideas on questions and content to create. And in doing so, in going live, Mona's been featured on Instagram's Explore page more times than she can count, and she has grown into the hundreds of thousands of followers. Don't worry about fancy cameras, makeup, setups, lights. You literally click live and you're good to go. If you haven't tried this vertical of Instagram, I highly recommend it. It can be kind of scary at first, but it's totally worth it, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. Now onto the 4th and newest vertical of Instagram that I want to talk about today, IGTV. IGTV came out as Instagram's solution to longer form vertical video that people are literally consuming on their mobile devices. Here you can post videos that are over 1 minute in length, and you can also cross-promote by putting a thumbnail of that video on your feed. This is still new territory, so not a lot of people have really figured out how to maximize this platform. Now, since this one is newer, not a lot of people have really figured it out yet. However, I can tell you from attending events like VidCon, where Instagram was actually present, this is one that they really care about. They're investing a lot of time and a lot of money into making this vertical a success, which is probably why it's a good idea not to ignore it. Now, I know this can seem very overwhelming. Feed, stories, live, IGTV, there are only so many minutes in the day. How on earth are we going to be active on all of these? That's where branding comes into play. Give each vertical of Instagram where you want to be present a purpose. How will you use your feed? How will you update your stories? Why will you go live? And how can you use vertical video? Start to think about ways to repurpose content from one vertical to the other. Let's say, for example, you go live every week with a guest. Here's why that's smart. Not only do your followers get notified, but if you go live with a guest, their followers also get notified. And at the very end of that broadcast, I recommend screenshotting the final screen that shows you the total number of viewers, because you'll never see that screen again. And you have the option to save the video file of that broadcast. Why not save that final video file and cut a highlight reel for your IGTV stories, since it's already vertical video? So there are a few ideas for you. Really, when it comes to crushing your Instagram game, it's all about mindset, 4 verticals, and how you can approach these with purpose in a unique way. That's enough talking from me. Now I want to hear from you. By the way, what's your Instagram handle? Go ahead and put it in the comments below so that other people can see it, including me, and follow you. Plus, if you have any other questions about Instagram, go ahead and pop those in the comments below as well. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want more practical advice to looking good online. I'm Phil Pallen. I appreciate the valuable minutes you've spent with me today, and I'll see you back next time.